Came home, I put the buffalo horn tips on, cut an angle on the wood and on the horn tips, shaped them. 24 hours, they'll be done. This is the one. This is the other one. Came out good. Good morning, it's April 17th. Today is Tillering Day. It's Thursday. So we got the antler tips on. I drew 45s and I cut string grooves in with a chainsaw file. Chainsaw files come in different thicknesses. This seems to make like a nice 1/8" cut. Okay, so here we go. And then I had some 220 that this buffalo horn tips I just sanded a little bit. And then you want the string to be able to ride up without catching. So I'm able to kind of polish these ends, polish the ends up. And if there's any glue along here, you're able to take the straight edge of the sandpaper and sand up and down like this here. And this way the stain or whatever you put on will be able to take and you won't have a glue spot. So it's Tillering Day. This bow blank is 66 inches from tip to tip. There's a center mark, okay, at 33. I marked the fade outs, okay. I marked from the bottom of the string groove 3/4 inch down and put a tillering mark. And if you notice, that is like right at the end of the tip, okay? And I did the same here. It's 3/4 inch down from the bottom of the string groove, and that happens to be the end of the tip. Then from there, from that point to the fade out, I measured the middle and I marked the middle. And these will be my tillering marks when I use the yardstick to get the bow to bend. See the nice back set we got from the fire hardening? We're going to start the tillering process. We're going to bring the limbs down just a little bit past level. Going to use the yardstick from our marking points. From the fade out mark to that 3/4 from the string groove. And we're going to step back and look. And while we got a nice bend going on this side, we got a low spot on this side. So from here to here, I have to remove material. So just check it again. Okay, you can see there's a flat spot with the ruler. Now if I took this away and you looked at it, you'd say, oh, pretty good bend. So with the ruler, things jump out with your yardstick. Let's check out this side. Okay, when I look at this side, we got a fairly good bend. We got to take material off from here to here. Okay. I'm going to take material off. This is the first time, and I'll get back to you. Remove material from the low spots. Let's check it out. From the marks. From the fade out to the fade out, we got a nice bend going on. Still a little bit more here. Just a little bit in here. Let's check over here. I like to turn the numbers away from me so they're not making me focus on the numbers, so I can focus on the bend. And if we look, we got a nice bend going on here, and we have to remove just a little bit along here, just a little bit. Okay, so the idea of this micro tillering is that we only go down an inch at a time. We go a little past level so we could put a straight edge up on, and by removing the flat spots and getting a nice even bend throughout the whole length of the limb, we're creating less stress on the limbs. We're avoiding hinges, we're avoiding weak spots, and we don't go down until we're really happy that we have like a mirror image. When you split it in the middle, you're looking at that center mark, both sides. You have a nice bend even on both sides, okay? That's the goal. And this way, that'll ensure that as the limbs bend, you're not going to have any problems. So we're going to remove material, go down a little bit more, recheck it, and then once we get that mirror image, we can go down another inch. Usually after a couple of inches, usually after we get that mirror image, we're able to go down an inch, an inch, an inch, a couple inches at a time. Okay, but if you look at it now, you really can't see anything. It looks beautiful, right? But that ruler, the yardstick, really shows you the flaws in the bend. So it's a great thing to do. Great tool to use, and I suggest everybody uses a straight edge as a guide. Okay, remove material. Let's see how we did. From the fade out to the end, we were working on getting this to bend more. And it's getting there. It really is. It's starting to get there. So from here now to here, we got to take off just a little bit more. But we're getting there. You can see with the, you wouldn't be able to see it without the yardstick, but you can see it with the yardstick. Now let's just check this out. I took a little bit off the end here. I took a little bit off this here, and we can see from here to here now, there's a tiny little bit. So we're going to remove some material, and we're going to see how it bends next. Okay, we're going to check it out again. Remove some more material from those spots I marked with the pencil. Okay, and that's kind of what we want. You see, we got a nice bend going on. Could we use a little more? I'm going to wait on the ends until I go down another inch or so, but we got a nice bend going on. Let's see what we got over here. Look, we got a nice bend going on here too. Okay, same thing as the other side. We got mirror images, so we're going to go down another inch. And the idea is that we eventually want to go down to put a string on, which would be here. So we got quite a ways to go, and we're going to have to reduce some weight at some point. So let's go down another inch. Check it out. See if anything magnifies as we go down an inch. Still looking good. Still looking good. We're going to go down another inch. I'm starting to feel the weight, that I'm going to have to do some weight reduction soon. But we're going to just check it out now that we went down a few inches. And as we look at it now, as we go down a little bit more, you can see that maybe just a little bit more on this outer limb at this point. See, as we went down a little bit more, we could see a little tiny bit here. Okay, let's check it out over here and see if anything jumps out. Over here, it's looking really good. So I'm using a belt sander, okay? Let me take this off and show you. I'm using a belt sander. And what I do is let me show you over here. I'm using a belt sander because I'm experienced with it. And if there's a high spot where I mark with the pencil, like here's a high spot. What I'll do is, watch, I'll show you. I go back and forth and work on that high spot, and then I'll do this. That'll take care of that high spot. And now what we're going to do is we got to reduce some weight. This is a very heavy bow. If you would have used sandpaper by hand and you had that spot marked out, you would take 60 grit sandpaper, start in the middle, sand it and work your way out a little bit, okay? And then check it and put pencil marks and do it again and again. To reduce weight, once you have this nice bend, mark the whole thing up with the pencil and then use the 60 grit sandpaper to erase that pencil mark to try and get it even. Okay, so if you have to do it 3, 4, 5 times, you do each limb 3, 4, 5 times, you know. So, but when I have the belt sander, what I do is I do strokes. And I count strokes. So it's noisy, but I'm just going to show you. I hold my hand flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'll do 10 strokes. And then I check each side. I'm always checking each side to make sure they're even, that I'm not leaning one side thicker than the other. And I'm going to flip it around and I'll do 10 strokes on this side. I just wanted to show you what I do to reduce weight. So I'm going to reduce some weight and then we're going to go back. I reduced 30 strokes on each side. So let's check out and see how the bend is now. See if there's any corrections needed. Okay, we got a pretty nice bend going on. When I stand back, it looks pretty good. Let's check over here. We got a nice bend going on here too. There's a little tiny low spot right here. Okay. Now I marked the low spot, but before I take it off, I want to see how much weight we have. This isn't even at brace height, nowhere's near it. But I just want to get an idea how much weight I'm pulling. These marks at this point in time with a long string are just reference points. So if I go to the top of this 18.5 inch, we should give us the weight at what we have it now. We got 34 pounds. Okay. Oh, that happens. We got 34 pounds. So what that's telling me is I got to take off like another 30 strokes. I got to take off at least another 30, 40 strokes on this, okay? What I'm going to do first is just remove that little bit of a low spot, you know, a couple strokes, and then I'm going to take even strokes off. So we'll get back to you and we're going to check out the weight. We want to get it, what I'd like to have is probably like a 45 pound bow. That's what I'd like to have. I'd like to see if I can get a little heavier hunting bow than I'm used to. You know, like 45, a little more at my draw length. Okay, I took off 40 strokes on each side and I got a little 120. And I'm just going to hit the edges. So they're not sharp, they're nice and round. And then after I get done with this, on the belly side, I'm going to check the marks. And it don't hurt even on the back of the bow, just a little bit. And once again, this, even though I'm using a belt sand and I'm going back and forth and I'm doing like 40 strokes, this isn't a new belt. It's a worn belt, and I've been doing this for years, working on disc grinders and belt sanders on and off. So let's see what we got. Whenever we remove a lot of weight, you got to check that bend out again. So let's make sure the bow looks level. Levels could be on crooked ground and a crooked trailer. And look at that. We got a beautiful bend going on. We really do. Another beautiful bend. So what I do at this point in time, where let's see how far we got to go for a string. We need to go about here for a string, so we still got to go down quite a ways, okay? Just so you know that we got to go down a lot for a string. We're going to check how even the bend is so far. So what we do is we go from the fade out mark to the end mark, and we got a ruler. And what we have is 1 inch. Let's check over here and see how much the bend is. We got 1.25 inches. So that means that even though they're bending beautiful, this one is bending more than that. So we got to remove some material, some strokes on that one to even it up. And just so you know, when we come down to this mark, which is nothing more than a guide at this point, is 21.5 inches. As we remove material on that limb, it affects this limb for checking the distance. So we're going to remove material there, and then we're going to recheck both sides to get an even amount. Like if it's 1.25 inches over here and 1 inch over here, let's say, they both one might be, when you get all done, it might be 5/8 and 5/8. Okay, just to give you an idea. Okay, I removed 12 strokes. Let's see if it affected anything. From the fade out to the mark we have by the string groove, we have 1 3/16 inches. Let's check over here. See what we got. I got to get it where it's supposed to be. We have 1 1/16 inches is what we have going on. So we got to remove a little bit more material. I know if you're watching this video, it's kind of like watching paint dry, but if you're going to, tiller your own bow, and you watch this, you'll see how one thing affects the other. You want to take off a little material off one limb, and it changes the other limb too when you're doing that. So we removed off another 10 strokes on this side. It's like 1.25 inches now over here. And it's 1 inch, and it's 1 inch and almost 1.25 inches over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what the weight is now, what we're dealing with for the weight, and then we'll decide what we're going to do after that. So we're going to move it to the top of this 22.5 inch mark and see what kind of weight we got. Okay, we got 42 pounds. 42 pounds, and we got a ways to go before we string it. So I'm going to continue removing more material. Okay, we're going to remove more material because it's just too heavy. Since the last video, I went back and forth 4 times. Figured there's no sense torturing you watching with all these measurements, but I have them bending even now, same amount of distance. And let's look at the bend. We still have a really nice, beautiful bend going on. Beautiful bend going on. And we're almost getting to the point where we can put a string on. Let's see. A couple of more inches, and we're able to go down a couple of more inches. Go down another inch and check it out. Beautiful bend. There's nothing that jumps out. Went down an inch and another inch, and there's a beautiful bend. Nothing jumps out with bending. The weight is distributed evenly along the limbs. We're going to go down another inch. And I believe we're at the point now where we can put a string on it. So let's see what we got, how it looks. There's absolutely nothing that jumps out. We got a really nice bend going on. Beautiful bend. So let's see what kind of weight we got here. And where we are is, it'd be the top of this 24.5-inch mark just for weight. And let's see what kind of weight we got at that point. Okay, we got 43 pounds. 43 pounds at what'll be a brace height of a string. So what I think I'm going to do is, as nice as we have everything, it's still too much weight, and I can put a string on this now. I'm going to reduce about another 20 strokes on each side, recheck it, and find the string, and we'll put a string on it, okay? I'm not going to bore you with me going back and forth. I'm going to remove like 20 strokes or so, and I'm going to look for a string. Okay, I found a string that's going to work, but what I want to show you too is, now you're going to be sliding the string up, and you want a nice smooth transition. You got to make sure that it slides over the tip. If not, you got to sand the tip so it'll have a smooth transition. We don't know at this point which limb is going to be the top limb or the bottom limb. Once we string it up and pull it back, we usually know for sure. But what we want to do is, on both upper and lower limbs at this point in time, we want to make sure the edges are nice and round, and there's no fibers that are going to catch and splinter up from the string. You want a nice smooth slide transition up. And then we can always remark this mark that I have here that's 3/4 of an inch down, but you can see it. We'll just remark it a little bit. Okay? And once again, we don't know what's the top is or the bottom. I have an idea by looking down it, but we'll wait till we get the string on it. So I just want to show you, we have a string on, and right now we only have a 5.5-inch brace height, but that's okay. This riser here is about 2 inches, and I'm going to cut into it so the brace height will actually be more than what this reads. So if this reads 5.5, it's probably going to be, this brace height right now, when I cut out where my hand goes, will be 6 inches, okay? Will be 6 inches. And we usually want a 6.5-inch brace height or so. But just to show you, every time you throw a string on, we're going to call this limb the top for now. And let me see when I pull it back if I feel it go in one direction or the other. Yep, I feel like that's it. That's going to be, I picked the right side. And you can't tell, but the string will favor one side or the other. And if the string favors this side, for a right-handed shooter, this will be the top limb. Okay, evened up the limbs so that from the marks of the fade outs to the midsection, everything's even. And we're going to go down just a little bit and check it out with a straight edge. We are actually now at a 15.5-inch brace height, and we're going to see how it looks. And we got a really nice bend there. Let's see how it looks here. Oh, I sanded the mark away. Let me put a new mark. Okay, we got a new mark here. Rounding the edges. Let's see what we got. Oh, beautiful. We got a really beautiful, nice bend going on here. So let's go down a little bit more. Go down another inch. I'm going to look at it to see if there's anything that jumps out. Nothing. Nothing. Go down another inch. Absolutely perfect going on. Once you have that micro tillering done early, and then once you put the string on and align the limbs just a little bit more for the bend to be equal. Look at that. Look how beautiful. All right, let's check this out. I heard something. I think it was everything's good. It must have been these shims I have here. Let's go down, exercise it. Okay, we got a 21.5 now. That's actually 21.5-inch draw. And the bend is beautiful. Those shims scared me when I heard that little noise. Okay, look at the beautiful arc we have, okay? No, that was not the shims. We have a grain lift. We have a pop. Let me shut it off, and then I'll take it off and show you the disaster. Okay, that's the end of this bow. It broke. We had a little explosion, a little lift. The grain separated, and it's weird. It's separated in the middle. It lifted up in the middle. Okay, let me get this out of the way and look at it. In the middle. I don't know. I'm going to play with it. I'm going to take this all the way down to the ends and see if I can make a youth bow out of it. So on the back of the bow, we had a grain lift, a grain break. And what we're going to do is I sanded it down. I'm going to sand it a couple more strokes, and I'm going to use a cabinet scraper and see if I could try and trace a growth ring and see what we got. Well, I sanded a lot of material to get that lift, that crack out. And then what I did was I used sandpaper and sanded it down and a cabinet scraper. I'm hoping to try and find, looking at the side and using the cabinet scraper, trying to find the growth ring. I got to sand one more little spot here, and then we're going to try and string it. What do I expect to happen? I don't expect anything good to happen, but you never know. Might as well try and string it on camera so you can watch it break. Okay, I'm going to put it on the tillering stick and see either it breaks or it don't. I have a feeling it's going to break. Okay, what we have here is I sanded the back of the bow on the belt sander. Then I used a cabinet scraper to try and get it down to what I would call close to a ring. And then I sanded it, rounded the edges, put a string on it. What do I expect to happen? Nothing good, but you never know. So we're measuring here from the fade out as 7.5 from what we're calling the top limb. We got 7.25 from the bottom limb. So I'm going to leave the back of the bow alone where I have it now, and I'm going to work the belly again. So the bottom limb isn't bending that much. Needs to bend more. We got 5 3/8 on the bottom, and we got 5 3/4 on the top. So we have to remove material. We're going to remove material from this inner first and then restring it. Okay, I have it all even from the measurements, from the inners, the mids, everything is even. And we're going to start putting on the tillering stick again to see how the bend is, how far we get it down, and then we're going to try and see how far we can get it back if it breaks, which I have a feeling it will. If it don't break, it's something incredible, okay? Okay, we actually have a 22-inch brace height. And we're going to look at the bend. And the bend looks good. And the bend looks really good. We don't want to leave it hanging there too long. So what we're going to do is, it looks so good, and I've only got a 26.5-inch draw, and we got that 22.5-inch brace height. We're going to pull it down and see if I can get it to my 26.5 inches, which will be underneath this 22.5-inch mark with that thick riser. Okay, so let me mark it here. Not brace height, I'm sorry, I said brace height. Okay, so this here will be my 26.5-inch draw length. Okay, 26.5-inch draw length. Sorry, I've been under a lot of stress. So let's see if we can get it down to that mark without it breaking and see how many pounds it is. Just one more time, I want to check it before I pull it. Okay, right here. Let's see what we got. We got 38 pounds. We got 38 pounds at my draw length, okay? That's crazy, right? Let's check it out, see if there's any damage or anything noticeable. Feels a little rough here, but I don't see nothing going on. I may just sand it a little bit here, and I'm going to pull it back several times on camera and see what happens. Well, if it lasts, I wanted the hunting bow, but I guess I got a 3D bow. Let me pull it back and pull it back and pull it back and see if it breaks. And if it breaks, hopefully I don't get hurt, or you get to see me whack myself in the head. Well, I think we got it. As crazy as that is, Okay, as crazy as it is, we had grain lift. I chased it down to what I believe, I sanded it off that lift. I used a cabinet scraper. I got it down to as close as I could to a growth ring, with the exception of where the tips are. I have no lifting. I'm pulling it back at my draw length. I'm going to shape the riser and we're going to shoot this. We're going to shoot the heck out of it and see what happens. All right? But I don't know if you ever saw that before, right? Lift it in the middle and I sanded it down and tried to get a growth ring. And I may have saved the bow. All right? Going to shape it up and we're going to shoot this thing and see what happens. I'm thinking positive with this. I shaped the tips and now I'm cutting the shelf in. Shaping up some tool marks here, getting rid of some tool marks on the shelf and the sight window. Going to get them to blend in nice. And we're going to sand it. Then we're going to shape the handle. We're using a half round rasp now to make a transition. And then I have a half round file. That's a nice fine file, really nice file. And I'm not going to make you watch me do this. I'll show you when it's done. I have to say, this is the wildest self-bow build I ever had. I had issues with the laminations during the fire hardening process. I glued them, I sanded them, they disappeared. While I was tillering, I had grain lift in the middle of the bow. I took it down to what I believe to be a growth ring, pulled it down to my draw length. It didn't break. I think I got it. It was worth my time to shape it up. Let me show you what I got so far. I just need a little more sanding, but you get the idea how nice it is, right? Let me show you this way. It might be better, right? Show you the shelf. There's a little tool mark in here I got to get out. Okay, I shaped the tips. Okay, look at the tips. The top is nice and pointy. The bottom is nice and round, so you can put it on the ground or the tip of your shoe. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean up, and we're going to go in the back and we're going to shoot this a bunch of times and see if it lasts. Okay, we got a 6.5 inch brace height, and we're going to shoot this bow. And hopefully before the end, before I post this video, I'll come up with a name for it. So we'll see what happens. Let me see what weight it is and if it breaks during this shooting session. Okay, we have it zeroed out. We got it 36 pounds, which is really nice. Is what I like for 3D. So we're going to take a few shots with it, see how I do with it. Okay, we're going to start with the 700 Entrada. Very lightweight arrow. And aim for the bear. I'm going to try to be a shooting machine. Touch my anchor. Keep my hand against my face. Keep my hand up on target until it hits. Seemed to fly pretty good. Move this over. I'm going to take a few more. And the bow didn't break. This is the most amazing build I ever did. Because of the grain lift, taking it down from in the middle of tillering, taking it down from the back of the bow to try and find the growth ring, to getting it not to blow apart is amazing. Take another one. Almost touching arrows down there. I repositioned the camera, and I'm going to take the same shot. Instead of putting the tip on the bottom of the belly, touching my anchor, top finger to the corner of my mouth. I'm going to try looking down the arrow, and because it's closer, I'm going to put it like on the bottom of an X, of the X. I'm going to look down the arrow. Not bad. It's so fast. These are flying so fast. I'm going to look down the arrow and put the point on that deer target. That's 15 down there. Unbelievable. Right there. This bow is shooting really super fast, crazy fast, and it's holding together. That's the most amazing thing, that it's holding together. Let me put another one down there at 15. Looking down the arrow again. Wow. Unbelievable. Now we're going to try that deer at 20. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch the top corner of my mouth and put the point on the belly, because these seem to be flying really fast. Just to see. Shot high. It's shot high. I got to leave a space below. You know what? It's so good. It's shooting so good. And it's holding together. And the most amazing thing, you saw what it looked like and how I brought it down and recovered with this bow. Let's go take a look at these arrows. These are so fast. I'm looking down the arrow, putting it on the bottom of the X, and they're hitting here. I'm looking down the arrow and putting the point on, and this is the first time I'm shooting this, obviously, right? Look, I put the point on here, and it's about a fist below, and I'm almost touching arrows. Isn't that crazy? So then let's look over here at 20 yards. At 20 yards, I put the top finger to the corner of my mouth. I aimed here, and they're shooting so fast, they're hitting here. Absolutely amazing. So, you saw all the trouble I went through with this bow. And it didn't break. It held up, and it's shooting fine. It's shooting great. Shooting unbelievable. So what we're going to do now is, this is the end of the video. I want you to, every day that you wake up, it's a great day. Get out and shoot. Make a bow. I suggest you go to Keith Shannon Outdoors, Shannon Outdoors, and get his fire hardening video, and you're able to get local whitewoods in your area, fire harden them, and make beautiful bows out of them. Okay? If I come up with a good name, I'll add it on the end of this video. But thanks for watching.